Vengeance by Rockella Renee. A man sits slouched in a giant chair in front of a large computer panel. He leans against the armrest, the weight of his weary head propped up by his arm and elbow. The glow of the 4 monitors in front of him create a haze in the dark room. Dressed in a gold satin robe, pink fuzzy bunny slippers, and 2 giant rollers parallel to each other in his golden hair, he's ready for bed. He lightly drums a finger on the other armrest and sings quietly to himself. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. Suddenly, he pushes his chair backwards. Standing to his feet, he spins dramatically around and bursts out into song. The sun will come out tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be a sun. In mid-sentence, he is cut off by a loud, echoing bang at the door. He gasps and holds his hand to his heart. He runs back to the monitors and looks at the one displaying the front door. A man stands pitifully in full view of the camera. He has on a sparkling black, skin-tight latex bodysuit with a giant star on the chest. His silver gloves look like 2 small sharks gnawing at his elbows. His boots are thick and buckled, spray-painted silver to match the gloves. To top off the ensemble, he wears a black mask that partially covers his face with 2 silver wings on each side of his head. It is Mr. Galaxy. Unnerved by the presence of his guest, Vengeance presses the speaker box button on the panel.
What do you want?
Mr. Galaxy's deep voice rumbles back a reply.
I need to speak with you. It's very important.
Not so fast. I need a better explanation than that. The last time you were here, I had to replace the entire left wing. It cost me a fortune. Do you really expect me to just open my door to you, let alone at this hour?
Mr. Galaxy sighs and hangs his head. Deflated, he answers.
No, you shouldn't. But I really need to speak with you. Vengeance! Please, open the door.
Vengeance carefully watches Mr. Galaxy on the monitor. He sees that there is something legitimately wrong with his foe. Curious and slightly jealous that he was not the one to cause such grief in Mr. Galaxy, he answers him.
I'll just be a moment.
Vengeance takes off his robe, revealing a dark green and gold spandex suit that accentuates his long and slender frame. He removes the rollers from his hair and restyles it into curved devil horns. Finally, he reapplies his black eyeliner and green lipstick. Mr. Galaxy waits patiently outside. He notices that he can see his breath. He looks around a moment, then pretends to smoke a cigarette. The door buzzes, and he quickly puts out his cigarette butt. Slowly, the heavy metal door rises and reveals Vengeance standing behind it. Surrounded by shadows, he waves Mr. Galaxy towards him. This way, please. Unquestioning, Mr. Galaxy follows Vengeance down a dim-lit hallway into a large room. As they reach the center of the room, an ear-piercing alarm goes off. Mr. Galaxy looks around the room like a startled cat. Suddenly, a large metal cage crashes down around him. Like that? I just had it installed. Vengeance laughs a desperately evil laugh, then sneers at Mr. Galaxy. Did you really think I would just allow you to waltz in here? My home? My lair? You can't fool me, Mr. Galaxy. Again, Mr. Galaxy sighs.
I'm not trying to fool you. Honestly, I need help.
Vengeance laughs harder.
Oh, funny.
You need me? gotta laugh.
I'm serious. I don't know what to do.
Mr. Galaxy whines at Vengeance.
I know our relationship over the years has been tense, but you know me better than anyone.
You know, you're really draining all the fun out of this.
I know. But I really need your advice.
Vengeance looks surprised. Well, you've got my attention now. However, I hope you don't mind me being a little bit cautious. If it's all right with you, I'd feel much safer with you in there. Mr. Galaxy clasps his hand together in praise.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Vengeance rolls his eyes. One's enough. He then motions for Mr. Galaxy to sit on the floor. Mr. Galaxy plops down and crosses his legs like a wide-eyed kindergartner at story time. Vengeance pushes his giant chair in front of the cage and sits down. Go on then. What has you so pathetic these days?
The government.
Nothing new there, Vengeance interrupts. Mr. Galaxy looks up at Vengeance, frowns, and continues.
I was working with the Department of Defense on implementing new security measures to demobilize terrorists before they attack. While at the Pentagon, a close friend of mine pulled me into her office and spoke with me on some new policies being proposed to the White House. She said that the government is trying to create heavier regulations on heroes. No more masks, no cool weapons and suits. They will be government issue only. Heroes will have to sign a contract with the government just like regular military personnel. Finally, whatever damage is incurred during the restraint of an enemy will result in a fine. 30% of the total cost of damages. If we don't comply to these new policies, we get thrown in jail.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, that's absolutely horrific. However, I fail to see the relevance. Why have you come to me? Mr. Galaxy tips his eyebrow at Vengeance, then answers.
Ever since I was a little boy, I dreamed of becoming a superhero. I could see myself running around the city saving people from fires, criminals, mastermind villains like yourself. And sure, when I started out, people were happy. I was happy, but as time went on, they began using me. They'd call me to do menial jobs like taking out the garbage when they forgot it was trash day, or flying them across town just to miss rush hour. I don't even get thank yous anymore. Now, on top of that, all the heroes are going to get fines that will send us spiraling into debt. We have to sign our lives away or else face ridiculous consequences. It's just not worth it anymore. But what do I do? There is no way I could live a normal life. I mean, could you see me bagging groceries or sitting behind a desk in a collared shirt and tie? Ugh. I like my sparkly black suit way too much to give it up.
Mr. Galaxy looks deep into Vengeance's eyes for an answer, but he just sits quietly, staring back.
Well, what do I do?
Vengeance abruptly stands to his feet. Did you forget your big boy underwear today? Am I even talking to Mr. Galaxy right now? Who are you? Mr. Galaxy is taken aback. What? Vengeance yells at him. Stand up. Mr. Galaxy jumps to his feet. Vengeance glares directly into his eyes. Now listen, and listen good.
It's,
Mr. Galaxy interjects. Vengeance furls his lip and reaches his hand through the bars, grabbing Mr. Galaxy by the neck. Listen well, smartass. I've lived my entire life on the outside. I've watched people, these people you and all your hero friends idolize so much. They are crazy, disgusting pigs. I know I'm diabolical and all, but I'm nothing like them. At least I have real reasons for the way that I act. They hate each other for completely asinine reasons like religion, race, and status. Who cares? None of those things really matter. In the end, we are all the same. We die. They are greedy, selfish, and only care about what new tech is going to fit in their designer jeans. It makes me want to hurl. Do you see the streets? Do you see how filthy they are? Look what they've done to the planet. Global warming, smog, pollution. Then there's the government, controlling its people with an invisible hand, tricking them into believing that any of those issues are actually issues that are credible. A house divided can't stand. I guess that's what they're going for. Then there are the wars. Wars for oil, wars on terrorists, wars for peace. Disgusting. You say that I'm the bad guy. These are the reasons why I am the way that I am. This is why I'm angry. This is why I hide up here on my mountain and seek vengeance on the world. So don't bring your pity party to me. Tears begin to well up in Mr. Galaxy's eyes. Vengeance notices and sighs. Oh my God, really? I thought you were a superhero. Vengeance paces around, then begins to speak again. Listen. We are who we are, and we shouldn't feel the need to change that. I like chaos. I like to hear people scream. I like to watch them run. Do you think for 1 minute that I'm going to give that up just because idiots are saying I can't? Mr. Galaxy shakes his head and weakly replies, No. Do you think I'm going to stop blowing shit up just because someone says it's dangerous? Again, Mr. Galaxy shakes his head. No. Then why should you? Vengeance walks up to the bars of the cage. Look at me. Pull your shit together and get out there. Do what you do best because I can't do what I do without you. Mr. Galaxy nods and smiles. Now get out of my house. Vengeance yells and claps his hands together. The cage rises and Mr. Galaxy runs out towards the hallway. Vengeance calls to him, and Mr. Galaxy stops dead in his tracks. Are we still meeting at the top of the Empire State Building tomorrow? I was planning on throwing the mayor off the top.
What time?
He asks. I don't know. I was thinking like 12 or so. Mr. Galaxy thinks for a moment.
That kind of cuts into my lunch. What about 2 o'clock?
Sounds good. Vengeance gives him a thumbs up.
By the way,
Mr. Galaxy adds,
love the slippers.
Vengeance looks down at his feet and laughs. After Mr. Galaxy leaves, Vengeance goes back to his room, gets dressed for bed, and sits back down in his chair. Tomorrow, you're only a day away.